Hello, so in this video we are going to look at capturing job postings from target accounts, finding leads, and then adding them to a CRM and refreshing this on autopilot automatically every single week. So you have to lift a finger and you're going to get leads in your CRM. Okay, and the reason for this is, you might be selling a sales tech, GTM software to companies, and if they're looking to hire AEs containing the keywords GTM or go to market, it is a good sign that they're willing to invest in GTM. Okay, so they're great companies to reach out to. So all we've got to do is find the decision makers, add them to this CRM, and we've got some really good leads to work with. So where do we start? Let's first look at creating a list of target companies. So find companies in Clay, and we will want to choose 11 to 50. Let's say that's the size company that we target. It's going to be privately held. We want to include platform, SaaS, and AI. Those are the keywords for SaaS companies. And we want to remove any keywords that are agency, solutions, services, consulting, venture, for venture capital. And let's say that we want to, this isn't our TAM list. Let's just go with a segment of our TAM. Let's choose San Francisco. Here we go. And we've got 2,000 results, and we can hit continue and import into new table. And if we do that, we will get here. Now you can see there's a slightly different number of rows. That's fine. I'll probably just change the settings slightly. Here we are. We've got non-profits in here as well as privately held. Okay, so that's why we didn't filter for that. Absolutely fine. This is just an example to run you through. So now we've got a list of target accounts. Now we want to find jobs. So we can head over to find jobs. We want to look at job titles such as account executive. Here we go. We want to look for keywords such as GTM and go to market. And we want to look at San Francisco. And here's the bit where we extract not from the database in Clay, but actually from our Clay table. So we can hit Clay table, select company table, and that find companies table is the one we want to click here. So we click that, hit continue, import to new table, and we get find jobs here. Now you can see that we've got 312 rows, but only 13 showing. That's because we've done some enrichments and some filtering. And so if we look across, the first thing was just to double check that they are in fact a SaaS company. So edit, please visit domain and return 1 if company is a SaaS, return 0 if other. And then we've done a filter on the ones. And we've enriched the company and looked at the company size. And we want to again look at companies between 11 to 50. And we filtered on that here. Now, we did actually in the find companies table only get companies that are between 11 to 50. So that should not change anything, okay? So you could say this enrichment is kind of pointless, and that's true. I've just added there just in case, just to show again. So we filtered on that. And finally, we want to get leads, okay? So what do we do? So we hit add column, add enrichment, and we want to find people. And we hit find people here. And now this is to actually add leads to our CRM. So we want to find senior people in charge of sales within the company or GTM. So C-suite, VP, director, or head. We want the job title to either have sales in it or we want it to have GTM in it, okay? And we also want the individual to be located in the United States. It doesn't have to be San Francisco, we want them to be located in the US. Okay, and we've got six leads here. So we hit continue, import to new table, And if we do that, we have the Find People table. And you can see VP, Business Operations GTM, Founding Head of Sales, Interim Head of Sales. Okay, so these are all leads working for companies that are hiring for AEs with GTM or go-to-market in the description. And then finally, we want to add an enrichment and we want to export this data to a CRM. And you've got Pipedrive, Close, HubSpot, Salesforce. So you can click this and go through the process. And that will give you your final column to export to a CRM. Now, if your CRM isn't there, you can actually use the HTTP API, and you want to go through your CRM's documentation and Clay to configure this and set this up. Okay, so once you've added this column, now you're still in manual workflow mode, okay? You want to turn this into an automated system that refreshes and adds leads to your CRM every week. So what can you do? We can start by looking back at our Find Companies table. Now, this table isn't really going to change very much in the course of a quarter. Okay, you're going to have a couple of companies being added, a couple of companies leaving, but this is a fairly static list. So we can just keep this as is. With the Find Jobs table, okay, we actually want to refresh this on a weekly basis. So we can head over to Find Jobs column, edit source, and we can put run settings on a schedule once every week, and we can hit save. Now I'm gonna not do this because I don't want to, but that's what you need to do, and then you hit save. And then that means that this column is going to refresh every week, but we want the entire table to refresh. We want the enrichments to refresh. And so what we need to then do is hit table settings and auto update. Okay, so automatically run cells when cells they depend on are edited. Okay, so what that's saying is when this column refreshes, all of these columns will refresh. And then we want to head over to our Find People table and do exactly the same. So head over to Find People, edit source, on a schedule, change to 1 week, hit save. Okay, not doing that though. And then we want to change our table settings again and ensure auto update is enabled. It already is, and hit save. And now what you're going to be getting is this entire workflow refreshing on a weekly basis and adding new leads to your CRM every single week that you can then work and obtain higher close rates because you're going to be reaching out to the right people at the right time when they're ready to buy and invest in GTM.